Hey, everybody. It is so great to see you. Hey, Rachelle. We've taken a couple of weeks off, not really intentionally, but it's good to see you. How are you doing?
Good to see you too. I know it's I can't keep the week straight now because I don't know what day it is, but that's okay because like we were just going, and it's the summer and we're supposed to slow down a little bit, and maybe we're just meeting and planning all kinds of fun surprises for the next couple of months. I don't know, but I'm good. Today was the
Good.
first day no school. I did keep busy as always, but how are you?
I am doing super well. I want to give a shout out to Bonnie. Is it Nieves? Is that how you say your last name? It always reminds me of snow
Yeah.
in Spanish. But
Yeah.
to our community, so to our community member Bonnie, who just launched her book with Edgy Match today, Be Awesome on Purpose. And that's what I was doing right before we got on. So yeah, like it's been a good day and just doing stuff with my kids. And we're doing a lot of summer learning because our learning is not over. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I'm doing great. It is wonderful to see you, and I have definitely missed you. And let's see, we already have, oh, hey, we got Dr. Harvey. Yes, he's looking forward to winter. So he's in the Southern Hemisphere. Am I right?
Yes. I had to think. Yes.
Right, right. So that's cool. That's great. Awesome. So we have a wonderful guest today. Do you want to tell us a little bit about our guest?
Yeah, so it's exciting because the first time we get to actually meet and talk like face to face, as close as it gets. But Dr. Henry Turner is our guest today, and I must say, well, one, I enjoy following him and learning from him and the great content that he puts out there, and I get the newsletter, read everything that he shares. So it's been great getting to know him and the work that he does. And so I'm excited for our conversation today. But I'm also a little bit jealous because he gets to attend. It's the DLAC. Is that the conference it is?
Yes.
Yeah. And some of our other friends, Bree and Lainey, are there, as well as other educators I know that are attending in Austin. So I don't know. But anyway, welcome. It's great to have you here with us today.
Thank you. Thank you, Mel. Hey, Rachelle. So nice to meet you. So nice to meet you. Yes, I can say that it is officially hotter than it is in Austin than it is in Boston, where I am from. But it's been nice to reconnect with people that I have not seen in 2 years now. It's totally surreal to see people, educators at a conference, excited to learn, and wearing their name badges, and that we're kind of getting back into it. And yes, Lainey Rowell and I are presenting on evolving for equity, how educators can learn to be more focused on addressing inequity in their schools. So excited for that. It'll be tomorrow.
Oh, that is awesome. And Facebook user said, "Hey, Dr. Turner." I just saw that. Sorry. I would love to know who Facebook user is, but yeah, it's good to be here in this space. And the conference, was today the first day, or has it not started yet?
So the conference started, I think this afternoon, 1:00. There's been some things over the last couple of days, but yeah, officially starts today. So it's exciting. Hi, Dawn Harris.
All right.
It's exciting.
Yeah, that's great to just that excitement again, because it has been so long. I mean, the last time that I was at a conference actually was TCEA in Austin last year. And Mel and I and a few of our friends had gone to Nashville at the end of February, which, I mean, that counts as travel. But as far as like a learning experience, a conference, it's nice to see some of them opening up and starting more, becoming, even if they're hybrid too. I know Model Schools Conference at the end of this month in Nashville in a couple of weeks is a hybrid. They have the virtual for the first few days and then in person. So still thinking about possibly attending that one. Just, I don't know. It's like super exciting. I don't mind some of the virtual ones, but even this morning I had a presentation for the Future Ready Nebraska conference, which was kind of funny because they were like, "What part of Nebraska are you from?" I'm like, "I'm from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania." It's totally not in that side, but it's nice that we can bring all these people together and take those opportunities. But it is nice. I can't wait to like be in that same space with people again. So I'm sure it'll be great. And with that group too.
Agreed.
Definitely. Yeah.
Agreed. Yeah. I was lucky to be named a featured voice for EST this year. And so I'm excited about that. And I feel like conferences are doing better with the virtual conferences. So I'm excited to see what that conference is going to look like. But yeah, and I've had been to a bunch of virtual conferences this year. But there is just something special about seeing a lot of people excited to learn together face to face. Just a sign that we're coming back out of it. And I clearly have a lot of things to talk about now that we're coming out of this pandemic. So I'm excited about that.
I love that. And I want to say congratulations for being named Principal of the Year. Was this for this last year?
Yeah, 2020, K-12 Dive named me the Principal of the Year for 2020. So
wow. That's awesome. And congratulations.
Thank you.
And it is nice. Mel says, well, it is a huge bio. And something that I love about your bio is that you are like writing all the time. What are some of your like summer projects? And Rachelle, answer too, because we're all writing. So what are you guys doing this summer?
Well, you want me to go first?
Yeah, go.
Okay.
Of course.
So I've been doing. I think part of the drive for the award was that we've, for the last 5 years at school, we've been working a lot on the principal at Newton North High School in Newton, Massachusetts. And we've been doing a lot around addressing systemic racism in our school, focusing on culturally responsive teaching, changing some policies, and trying to empower our students, particularly our students of color, students who are traditionally marginalized. And so with when the pandemic hit, we really leaned into that work. So we moved very, very methodically and thoughtfully, really focused on equity being as our number one driver, which initially created a lot of tension with our community because they didn't think they saw other communities moving faster than we were. But I think where we've landed now, we're really proud of our work. And so so I've been doing a lot of writing around this experience. And just thoughts. And I think that, I love, this has been therapy for me, writing, specifically focusing on what does it mean to be a social justice leader, an anti-racist leader, one who is committed to dismantling racism in our schools and acknowledging that it exists and then working to figure out how to address it. And so, I've got a newsletter that I started up in February. It's been coming out monthly, and hopefully in the summer and then into the fall, start pushing it out every other week. But that's been super successful. A lot of people connecting on it. I think you put the link in the chat if people want to join there. And then my monthly blog posts, and then I think some writing for articles and some other kind of projects that I'm working on. And just kind of getting this idea of what it means to be an anti-racist leader. And a common phrase that or a story I like to share is that when I do workshops with other school districts or talk to other leaders about this, I commonly get asked, well, what's the difference between an anti-racist leader and just a generally good school leader? And so I always say that I don't think those two are opposites, that you can't be a good leader without being an anti-racist leader. But an anti-racist leader is one who recognizes that race, sees race, and recognizes that racism exists and fights to dismantle it. And so that's why I don't know how you can be a good leader if you're not committed to dismantling racism, but you have to be focused on it every moment, every day, to address the racial inequities in our schools.
And I did put up your last post. I totally agree. And I'm just wondering, how did your community, because you wrote a letter to your school body, and how did parents in your school community respond to that?
Yeah, it's a great question. I mean, I feel very fortunate that I work in a school community that for over 30 years has had a question for applicants, teacher applicants. What does anti-racist education mean to you? And superintendent a long time ago worked with Beverly Tatum Daniels. It's been a community that's really focused on it. And we definitely have a lot of room to grow and work to do, but it's been a value. And so, I was inspired after the murders of Ahmaud Arbery, Breonna Taylor, George Floyd, and seeing just the response that it happened, the impact that it had on me as a person of color, and just thinking about my daughter. That the night after George Floyd died, that I couldn't sleep, and so got up at like 3 o'clock in the morning, and I just started writing, and then I just said, I got to push this out, and I sent it to my entire community, and I got a lot of support. I think that's just been a value of our community. And the work is that we have to do more than just say, I support this idea, right? We actually have to do things. And kind of the message that I was trying to share in that letter is like, just even reaching out during a crisis and supporting your community of color is just so important in terms of maintaining relationships, supporting your communities of color. We did the same thing after January 6th. We brought our faculty together, our students together, to make sure that students felt supported during that crisis. And when things are quieter, that you're doing work to dismantle the inequities that exist. And it's crawl, walk, run, but you have to be working every moment to dismantle this very complex system that's been around for over 400 years.
Truly. And I'm going to put this comment up here. And I know Kim, she puts this up here, and I know she's a very sincere person. And it's hard as a white person to realize how deep racism is and everything. And Kim, I thank you for sharing. And like you just said, Dr. Henry, like it goes back 400 plus years. And so for many of us white people, we are just finally digging in and seeing it, because we've been able to kind of live without it being in our, lens for a long time, for way too long. So I do appreciate this comment, but I also appreciate the fact that your district has a caveat for that, for people coming in. Like, what do you think this means? Because I don't think that we can move forward anymore without recognizing that this is an important piece of our school system for all school communities. So I really appreciate that you shared that. And kudos to your school district. Do you want to give them a shout out?
Yeah, so Newton Public Schools. Our statement is equity and excellence, and it's something we're really proud of. And I think that coming out of this pandemic, we've proved that those two words are not mutually exclusive. That they have to be together. You cannot be an excellent school district if you don't commit to equity, and something that I think that our most empowered families push against. But then later learn is that when you are committing to equity, you actually are helping all students. Yes. And when we just focus on the highest performer students, or the most, the loudest voices, the most empowered families, then you're actually hurting those students. And I think that kind of goes to, again, the work that we've done through this pandemic. We've expanded more multi-level classes, with just the value statement that we want our students learning together, and recognizing that teaching in that environment can be challenging. There are challenges to it, and there are values to it, and benefits to it. And we want our students, what we want from our graduates is that they have the skill set to be able to engage with people who think differently from them, learn differently from them, look differently from them. And that is actually helping them to be better, more employable, and also better citizens. And so, and I think, and I just think that we actually have to prepare our students better as they start going through the college process or career, that they're better prepared, because we are committing to those two words.
Yeah. Kim is sharing that she's working towards, and I just want to pop this up there. Most white people have a hard time understanding this, and she's right. But I feel like the hope of our generations right now is that it is just something that we can talk about courageously, and not, put it behind closed doors anymore. That it is something to continue working on, so that it's not starting over every generation. Like, we just can't afford to do that anymore. So Kim, thanks for sharing that. And also Dr. Henry.
No, I was going to say, I think that we wait to talk about race sometimes when things are really hot, after an event. And so I appreciate Kim's point, because we have to be talking about it all the time. And one of the activities that I like to share with leaders who are just starting to do this work is just have a faculty meeting where people share their first experience that involved race. And what you'll find is that typically we see that white people tend to share a story that they're older than people of color share, and that in itself is just really important to learn. And there's no yelling and screaming. There's no pitchforks coming. There's people are having a conversation about race, and they're really interested in it. And that's where we have to be having these conversations when the emotions are down, so that when the emotions get up, we're able to navigate them more effectively.
I love that. I'm going to share also. I think this is Dawn. So Dawn, if this is not you, okay. And she says, yes, the work helps all students. Our students have to be able to leave our spaces someday and thrive in a world full of people who may not be like them. There is skill building involved in anti-racist work too. We can't wait until we're in crisis mode. So definitely, yes, I love that. We definitely want to understand each other.
I was going to say, I'm inspired by Dawn's work in terms of how to engage white communities and talking about race. She does amazing work there.
She does. Dawn, shout out to you. Yes, and I love this, because a lot of times if you're on Twitter, you can get into you can get into fights and stuff like that. And people feel strongly about this. I get it. But when you're trying to just engage the everyday educator who really truly wants to know more, you can't push them down just because they're starting in a place that we wish that they were further along, because I would have been pushed down immediately. So I appreciate those people who are helping us to be better. But yeah, definitely. And before we play our game, because we want to honor everybody's time today. Rachelle, you're also putting some stuff out there. You've got some. You've got some work. I'm gonna.
A little bit.
What is? What is this Getting Smart blog post about?
That's an excellent question. No, it was, and I talked about this last week. We were on with, I think it was last Monday, we were on with Hedrick too, just some of the different conversations that I've been involved in, especially in the last year. Initially around this time last year, ding, I don't know if you heard the ding, but it was a little bit uncomfortable for me to be part of a panel discussion, because I had not ever been part of those types of discussions. And my experience growing up and even in college and so forth, it just wasn't part of what we talked about. And so I've really been trying to reach out and see, what are the resources that are out there? Who are the people that are writing about this, the presentations, focusing more on learning about equity and culturally responsive teaching. And so I did the Microsoft Educator Center has some courses, they're always updating content. And I think I mentioned this last time, Ken Shelton had done a couple of different modules with them, and just the number of resources like readings and blogs and just you name it, that it's nice, because then you can kind of just go and self-direct and find what you need. And then I'm now I started to read Culturally Responsive Teaching. I don't even know how many months ago, but then got away from it. But I've been really diving into that book, and that book is fascinating. I mean, just my dad stopped over and I was like, did you know that the lizard brain, 500 million years old, I'm throwing out all these facts, neuroplasticity, and I'm the reticular activating system, and he's probably what, but there's just so much to it. And then of course it goes into, you're talking about implicit bias and everything. And it's a lot of things that I know about, very loosely about, but it's not something that I felt confident I could engage in a conversation about. So I've really been trying to participate in webinars or read or Twitter chats or anything where I can at least grab the resources and become more informed. So anyway, with all of that being said, you brought up the blog, and part of the reason I wrote that blog was because I was on a panel with Adam File and Carl Hooker. We were looking at bridging the equity gap in computer science from K through 12. And so that has been a big part of the conversation in the last week. Carl and I were hanging out a lot, Facebook Live. He was with us here, but it led me to do a little bit more research in, the number and to really look at students that are participating in these types of activities. So just kind of all going with that. So anyway, the blog post is how that we, all of us, and as educators, can bring computer science science opportunities to our students to kind of encourage, like, for me, some of my female students were like, oh, you know, this is something just it's a male industry, or like, I'm not good enough or whatever, and trying to really break that down for whatever their reasons are. So I put that post together in the hopes that people will read it and say, oh yeah, like we could totally do this in my classroom, or like you as the teacher can learn about it and just give opportunities. So anyway, that was a very long answer, but I feel like this is Clubhouse now. This is Rachelle and I'm finished speaking.
Yeah.
It's okay. I mean, I feel I should have put my listening lips in. Dang it. I don't know where my listening lips are. I should have just put on this.
It's all right.
I know. But Linda, it's nice that you've joined us. I wanted to say hi to her. Yes, no, I love that, you know, I'm going to be writing more this summer. I've been writing a lot, different guest posts for, you know, Alice Keeler. I work a lot with her. But I if you are watching and you're writing, feel free to put your blog post in our comments so we can also shout you out. Linda says, I've been reading culturally responsive teaching as well. And it's so crazy because we're going to have Dr. Desiree Alexander on Friday, and she and I are presenting together with a couple other people at EST Live on culturally responsive teaching. And we've got to do that a few times. So I'm really looking forward to seeing her on Friday, but also presenting with her. Yes, Kim, I agree. She loves all that is happening to get people to understand. I think we're doing a lot better lately. Go ahead.
So I was gonna say your blog post reminded me of the book Whistling Vivaldi, and just sort of the ways we can address stereotype threat in our classrooms. Just the small ways to do it, and usually it works the best with the most motivated students. But the computer science classroom, girls in the computer science classroom, is an exact place where there are just some small steps that we can take to make our female students feel more welcome, more connected, and thrive, right? In those classes. So as you were saying, as you were talking, Whistling Vivaldi made me came to mind.
Awesome, thanks.
That's awesome. And Dr. Harvey is sharing his post, so we'll check that out. And are you guys ready? We're doing something a little bit different today because we're getting closer to the end. And I suggested a new game today. And Rachelle, you're going to have to play along. I don't know if you guys watch Family Feud. Do you guys watch it at all?
Yeah, when I was a kid, and it was actually on here last night.
Okay, well, we love it. We laugh hysterically. And so we're just going to play some Family Feud. And those of you who are watching, please join in. And I'm looking for the top answers, but I wish, and if I can get my son to do this, he really is as hysterical as Steve Harvey. He has like all of the catchphrases and everything ready to go. Okay, but first question, are you ready? Okay.
Yep, let's do this.
Name, and these are not as perverted as the TV show. Just wanted you to know.
Thank you.
Okay, Rachelle.
Thank you.
Just going to put that out there. These are not dangerous.
Good call.
Just so you know.
Right.
I play this with my kids. Okay. All right. Name an occupation to stay away from if you have a short temper.
Working in a restaurant.
That's one of them. That's number 6.
Teaching.
Yes, that's number 2. Oh, Kim, that's a great answer. It's not on there, but nurses, I would say. Can you think of teacher is number 2. There's one that is number 1 that you haven't said yet.
I was going to say customer service.
That's 3.
Dog, animal, pet groomers.
Librarian.
Oh.
Close. Okay, so
attorney.
Number 1 answer is police.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Rachelle, knowing your profession, my wife is an attorney. I would say that.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, that's good. But hey, did Don say police officer? Don, that was number 1. So good for you.
Very good.
Daycare. We'll put that in with teacher. Okay, number 2. This is a little bit easier. Give me an expression that contains the word hair.
It contains the word hair.
Hair.
Hairspray.
Hair.
Like a word, or
that's
literally?
Number 2. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Hairspray is number 2.
Oh, just a word. A word that is.
It says expression, but it can be a phrase or
Got it.
Hair raising.
Kim said
Hair raising.
Oh,
Bad hair
bad
day.
hair day.
Oh.
Linda. That's
80s
the
hair.
one. Way to go,
80s
Linda.
hair. 80s
Bad
hair?
80s hair is not on there. No, but bad hair day, yes, Dr. Harvey, that is number one. So bad hair day's one. Hairspray's number two. Oh no, I lied. Hairspray and bad hair day are tied for number one.
Ah.
All right.
Yeah. Think of your cat.
Bad hair? Hairball?
Hairball is, yes,
There you go.
one. That hair should be on that. That's terrible. Did somebody say hair loss?
Mm-mm.
No. Okay. Well, it should be on there. And
I'm
80s hair
not
should
very
also
good.
be.
There's probably a reason I'm not very good at this.
Sorry, I wasn't very good
Okay.
at this one either.
Okay. Okay, you might be good at this one. Okay. I'm sorry. And if this is not as fun as Would You Rather, we won't ever play this again. I just thought it might be a little bit fun. Okay. We'll say, would you rather play Family Feud or Would You Rather? Okay.
Yeah.
Name something that was much cheaper 10 years ago.
Gas.
That was number one.
Mm,
Boom.
very good. Very good.
Movie tickets. Sorry.
No, go for it. I was going to say cars.
That's number two.
Okay.
Gas was number one. Cars was number two. And she said gas. Okay. Yes. Gas. Phones were probably cheaper.
Ice cream.
Everything.
That's random.
Food is number four.
Okay,
Yes.
that counts.
Building materials. I hear that. Yeah.
For sure.
That's crazy. Do you guys know the price of wood right now? Homes.
Yeah.
Yes, number three. Yes. And computers. Computers, really? Okay. Do you want to have another one? Or are you guys like, this is not even fun? Look, everybody's look at electricity.
Yeah. Well, let's do one more.
One more.
Okay. We'll do one. Hi, whoever Facebook is. Okay. Oh my God. Okay. This is good. We asked 100 single women, name something you do on New Year's Eve, even when you don't have a date.
Drink champagne.
That's get drunk is number three. So we'll accept that one.
Dance.
Get out party is number two. So
Okay.
we'll say
Kiss someone.
that's actually not on there, which is surprising.
Yeah. Watch New Year's Rockin' Eve.
Right. That's the number one. Party was number two. Party was number two. Stay at home and watch TV was number one. Did anybody say celebrate? Yes. But nobody said
fireworks.
Nope. It's 100 single women.
They can set off fireworks.
But do they?
Whether or not they do, the thing is they can if they wanted to.
Correct.
Right? They wouldn't
could.
need. Just figure it out.
It's true.
Oh my
So we
gosh.
got the first two answers. I'm not going to say the others because I don't want to get in trouble. I didn't realize that they're a little bit, kind of sexist.
Good call.
But yeah.
PG-13.
Yeah.
Podcast.
Yeah. Well, not really PG-13, just a little bit on the sexist side, honestly.
Oh,
You know why I
yeah.
liked that game? Because I didn't have to look up the questions. But I was on a podcast last week and I got to do the Would You Rather. I was so excited. I was like, I'm always the one asking these questions. I said, but now I actually have to answer them because I always I'm not answering these questions. So that was fun. But I actually thought that Ben was going to come in and do the questions.
He wanted to. I will work with him on his presence and he'll do it at another point. Maybe Friday he'll be ready.
All
okay.
right, can't wait.
We'll do that. Yes. Dr.
Lainey.
It was so nice meeting you.
Hey,
Yes.
Lady.
It is, I
So
definitely will.
I'm going to text her right now.
I have a feeling Bree Hodges and Lainey Rowell are together watching this.
Yep.
Totally. Do you have any last words that you'd like to share before we say goodbye?
Well,
Either one of you.
Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, I was saying I really appreciate you two and what you're doing and amplifying people's voices. And this was really fun. And I hope to connect with you all. And as I said, I have another newsletter coming out pretty soon. So you can go to that link. I think that was posted, bit.ly/Henry J. Turner. And would love to connect with you. So thanks, you two. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. great to have you. Great to like officially meet.
Yes, exactly.
Hopefully in the same space at some point. Yeah. So thanks to everybody who joined in. So congrats again to Bonnie on her launch of her book today. So
congrats, Bonnie. That's awesome.
It is. Everybody has so much to say. This was a great show, and I'm so glad I got to meet you, and we'll definitely have you on again. Bye, everybody, and we'll see you at Thrive O'Clock on Friday.
Bye.
Thanks.